The movie starts with George and his family moving to a new house. The house was not good. There was no electricity, and they didn't have enough food. But their mom said they should be grateful to God. George didn't agree with his mom. When George slept, Alan told him not to fight anyone at school because George gets scared easily. The next day, George went to school, and everyone stared at him because of how he looked. In class, when he tried to answer the teacher's question, she didn't let him. During lunch, he sat alone without any food while everyone else ate. Someone accused him, which made him really mad, and he hit them. When the teacher showed up, he ran away. Years later, he and his friend were watching outside a bar when a man stumbled out drunk. They followed him, planning to steal from him, but it turned out the man was a cop and it was a trap. Police came, and they chased after him. He hid in the sewer pipes, and when the police arrived with a dog, he covered himself in sewage to avoid being caught. And it worked. The police couldn't find him. When George was going home, he saw a place where they give food and drinks for free. But in this place, they also help people find and improve their talents, and then those people have to work there. George told his mom about it and said he wanted to go there. His mom supported him and let him go. The next day, George went to the place and got the uniform. The guard told him the rules. Inside, he saw the new shoes his mom got him. At lunchtime, he found out his shoes were gone. Someone stole them. Then, in the dining hall, he spotted the thief wearing his shoes. He got really bad and started chasing the thief. But the thief went into a room and shut the door. He broke the door to get in and confronted the thief. They fought, and he almost threw the thief out the window, but Duck stepped in and stopped the fight. Afterwards, he was surprised to see the broken door. He brings him along in his car, and he has his important papers with him. He remembers that he was in trouble before, so they didn't let him in. Duck gives him money for the ticket, but George asks him many times and says this is his last chance. Duck feels sorry for him and takes him back. He sees that George is strong and asks him to join the club. Duck turns out to be the coach. George says yes and goes to the gym. He fights one of them, but he doesn't win. People were making fun of him, but Duck kept teaching him. Then, George got mad and punched a bag so hard that it fell down, surprising everyone with his strength. Duck trained him at the gym and cheered him on. He called his mom and told her he was starting boxing. She warned him to avoid fighting. He said it's just a sport with rules. Later, he faced the person who had mocked him earlier, hit him, and knocked him down. Duck was impressed by George's performance. George wanted to compete in matches, but Duck said he still needed more training because he's new to boxing. He asked him about the earliest date for the tournament, and he told him that after a year the tournament would be held, and told him that he would not be able to participate because he had more training ahead of him. A year later, we see George participating in the tournament and fighting a strong Russian boxer. His family was watching him on TV, and they were very proud of him. The fight begins, and everyone is cheering for George. After several strikes from George on his opponent, he easily wins the gold medal. He was happy, and raised the American flag. His family was in disbelief at what they saw, as their brother had won his first gold medal at the age of 19. The next day, he was wearing his gold medal and meeting his friends. They told him why he raised the American flag despite their killing of black people. But he was angry and went back to his mother, who calmed him down. He tells her that he's going to participate in a tournament.
I need you to believe in it.
At the airport, a beautiful girl catches his attention, so he goes to meet her, and she is called Paula. Then he was able to take her phone number. We see him with Duck, who takes him to professionals to train him. He introduces him to Sadler and Coach Moore. George watches Sonny, who wears a black belt and trains with them. He starts training and then calls Paula. They got to know each other and love each other. He enters some matches that qualify him to enter the tournament. He managed to win all his matches easily and became famous. Then he decided to marry Paula. Finally, he was able to reach the final match, and his match was with a professional boxer who defeated Muhammad Ali 2 years ago, and he was expected to beat George easily. Everyone was chanting the opponent's name. The fight begins between the two parties, and he remembers the words of his coaches. He receives an unexpected blow from his opponent, but he also hits him and then punches him, knocking him down. Everyone was shocked by George's strength. The second round begins, and George is in control and delivers multiple punches. Then he hit him and knocked him to the ground. Indeed, George deservedly won the championship. Duck was very happy because he knew that one day this person would become a hero. He becomes famous. Then he takes on Arch and makes him his manager because he's smart at math. An agreement between them. George watches the news that boxer Muhammad Ali is mocking George. He told the announcer that he would face George one day and defeat him. George takes his family to the big house, and they celebrate his success. He had a child, but he didn't care about his wife. His sister Mary tells him that she is pregnant. Problems happen between him and his wife because of the fans, and she was upset about that because he changed after that. He travels to participate in a big tournament to fight Muhammad Ali. Everyone was waiting for him. He noticed Muhammad Ali mocking him in front of everyone. But George remained silent. Everyone thought that George would beat Muhammad Ali because he was so strong. In the match, he decided to fight his own style without the help of his coaches. The match begins with him controlling the match, but then he loses focus because of his ego and arrogance. Muhammad Ali dominated the match. Duck was angry because George was fighting unfocused and punching randomly. In the end, Muhammad Ali was victorious. Everyone was so shocked. He spoke to his family, but his wife told him that she wanted a divorce. After that, he meets his mother and asks him why he kicked out. He tells her that he was the reason for his loss and he holds him responsible for his failure. One day, he decided to fight 5 boxers in order to prove to everyone that he is strong. Muhammad Ali was among those present as usual. He mocks George, who asked him to her match between them. But Muhammad Ali tells him that he does not fight losing people. Then we wash him with Duck and find out that he lost. Duck gives him tips to get back to his old self. A message reaches him, and he rushes to the hospital because his sister Mary is about to give birth. But her baby is in danger and may die. His mother asks them to pray to God. He goes out and prays a lot, and he is sorry to God. He told God that if someone had to die, he should die instead of his sister's son. After a few moments, we see Mary with her son, and they are in good health. The doctors couldn't believe how the baby lived. She told him that she knew he had called upon God and that God had answered him. After days pass, he was fighting his opponent, but he was out of focus. Everyone was talking that George, since his loss from Muhammad Ali, was no longer the same. Indeed, he lost the match. Duck didn't know how to deal with him. He was very angry and asked them not to talk and pass out. He was about to die, but he survived. Duck told him they thought he was dead. He feels faith and goes to church and talks about what happened to him. He told them that people should believe in the existence of God. He decided to retire from boxing and dedicate his life to serving God and the church and to become a priest. When he came out of the church and told Duck he was retiring, he couldn't believe it. He tried to convince him to return to boxing, but he was adamant about his decision. Then he goes to Muhammad Ali, and they start a new page and become friends. After that, he goes to his wife and apologizes to her. She accepts his apology but refuses to return to him. In the church, he saw a girl and fell in love with her. He takes the microphone and stands in front of the church and gives advice to people. After that, he goes to meet Jenny and talks to her. Then he takes her to an old church that was closed. He decided to reopen the church again. 10 years later, he became a pastor in the church and gave advice to people. A mother asks him to teach her some boxing, but he refuses. Then we see him with his wife Jenny and their children. He witnessed in the news the child whose mother brought him to teach him boxing while he was accused of theft. He regretted not agreeing to train the kid, which made him take hours, and go to an old gym for them to reopen. Irish was a bit nervous and something seemed wrong. Many renovated the place and spent a lot of money until young people started coming to train. Suddenly, the electricity goes out, and it turns out that they did not pay. He goes to the bank, and the big surprise is that his balance in the bank is empty. If he does not pay the money, the sports club will be closed. All this happened because of Irish, who betrayed him and used the money for gambling. He went to Irish and hit him, but then he left. Instead of giving up, he decided to do advertisements to save money for the gym. His wife said they didn't have enough money yet. He had to start boxing again, even though Jenny didn't want him to. He convinced her. He went to Duck and said he wanted to box again. Duck said it would be hard because of his weight and age, but he insisted. Duck told him to lose weight and come back to train. He exercised every day and finally reached the right weight. Then he went to Duck to train. He got into a fight and surprisingly won. The news is on TV and people are watching. Then there's the big Golden Bell Championship. He didn't win, but everyone still supported him. He got paid well from ads and fights, so he could pay off his debts. Later, he fought another champ who was younger, but he won because of his experience. People were amazed that George became champ even though he's old. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and see you on the next video.